fast read. It looks big, but it was really
It's
thorough.
there's a lot in there.
Yeah, there is a lot. And this is just volume one.
All
Just
right.
volume
I have
one.
a lot more.
It is available on Amazon. We'll give the link out here to you guys soon. It'll also be in my thread. I've got it up here on the screen. But let's get to it. Laurie, when did you contact me about this?
Probably a few years ago. Did someone introduce us?
I think we have mutuals in common, mutuals.
We must, because that's how I meet certain people.
Yeah, and you reached out via email and then you started creating this and then we did a talk back and an interview and then you created this beautiful book. I would have loved this book at the beginning of my career for sure. For sure.
Yes. I mean, yes, it's for beginners, but not only. And that was the idea with some of the Now Right books I worked on, not just for beginners. There's something there for people that are more seasoned, I hope.
Yeah.
Um,
And for sure. And what I mean by that is just having something to look forward to. It's from seasoned professionals. Anyone can read this and get a good reminder, a good reflection, a good nostalgia, a way to exist in the world of entertainment now. Because there's a
right,
through line philosophy with everybody, it seems like. Yeah.
right. There's many voices under one roof is the idea. There's people at lots of different levels of their career. They might just be a little ahead of you, or a peer, or they've been at it for decades. And some names you'll recognize, some you would recognize their face or their voice more than their name. It's just the value that people bring with their perspectives, their golden nugget. And for the user, I mean, I'm working on an ebook version because that's what some people like. But just like with the Now Right books, I feel like it just belongs on your shelf and it's not necessarily a linear read. There's all these different topics, and you might be like, okay, I'm getting ready for an audition. Let me look at the audition chapter. I'm learning lines. Let me look at the learning lines chapter as examples.
I'm going to record to, hold on. There we go. I had it recording on the other one. So, um, fantastic. Yeah. So you can, and I love books like that. There are certain books that I have that I refer back to consistently throughout my life. One is The Power of Now. The other is Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire by Deepak Chopra. There's certain books that I really like to reflect back on and that kind of hit you. And as an artist and kind of we need reminders. I'm doing one thing. We need reminders to throughout our career because we have so many obstacles that we can't even anticipate. And I always say, don't put the obstacles there before, unless you're studying a script, but don't put the obstacles there before they already appear because there's going to be plenty that you don't even know.
Right.
Um, and having a book like this can remind you along the way that you're not alone in the process too. That's
Not alone. That's the big part. It's like there's inspiration. There's other people who have gone through probably things that you have, and they have their preparation process. But like you say, it's also people's philosophy about their career and creating characters, all that kind of stuff. Juicy,
yeah.
I would say.
You would say what?
It's pretty juicy,
Yeah. Well, I
I
was
think.
certain. I think it is. And it was an inspiration for me too, because I have this book that I've been wanting to write forever. Um, and for my own benefit, I'd like to ask the question, how did you from beginning throughout and sustainability for so it's been, almost 3 years, I guess.
Well, I actually worked on it for 10 plus years. On and off, on and
Yeah.
off. Um, I can tell you how I got started on this. I worked on the Now Right series. First of all, my aunt started the series of the Now Right creative writing series. She was working on her second one, and I suggested screenwriting because that was my thing. And I knew a lot of coaches, teachers, and screenwriters, semi well known, pretty well known screenwriters. So we ended up doing that together. Then she was working on another one about mysteries. Sadly, she passed away. Then I did, and so I finished it for her. And then they said, do you want to do another one? I'm like, by myself, it's a lot of work. But I did Now Right Science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And then I got this idea, what about doing something like this for actors? Actors can really benefit from this, and it doesn't really exist. I mean, there's a lot of acting books. Not one of them is bringing together a lot of different points of view and about craft and career both. So I'm like, I want to do that. The agent's like, don't bother. And stubborn me, I started on it anyway.
Why did they say don't? Your agent
Oh
or agents in
no,
general?
the agent for Now Right.
Okay. And
She
why
didn't
did they say
want me to
don't
do it.
bother?
And I even came back to her with the proposal and I thought she was interested, but then her assistant, a long story, I ended up self-publishing. I realized I could do just as well. I just got less mistakes. And as a little things come up, I fix them. But there was a lot more mistakes in the last Now Right book that I tried to correct and they wouldn't correct it.
Why wouldn't they correct it?
No idea. It's some of them their editor added obvious mistakes and like, you're making me look bad. Can you fix these things? And they didn't. They printed it like that.
Well,
Frustrating.
I'm gonna tell you honestly, when I read a book, um, especially one that comes from artists and the any kind of mishaps, mistakes, or punctuation, unless it's a shift in how in the philosophy of the author, and a shift if that mistake changes the intention of what they meant to say. I kind of enjoy the little flub ups in certain books. I
Well,
see them
you might notice a few, but that's what's the problem with the last book. For example, I think it was the last book, or no, it was the screenwriting book. How to write a kick-ass scene, and they changed it to kiss ass. No idea why. I said, this is not correct. This is a scene about writing action scenes. This is a piece about writing action scenes. It's not about kissing ass. Sorry. Stuff like that. They would just change something where it did change the sense of it. And it was, embarrassing, but now I have found a couple little things and, but the beauty is I can fix it immediately. So any future prints will be corrected.
Well, I didn't notice one in mine, and I thought you edited my voice, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good, Brionne. So
It is good. And
I,
your second one in volume 2 is really good too.
and that one on relationships, or is that one, because I know we talked about that, or you did something on, I don't remember.
This one is about relationships, and I love it, with yourself, with others, with your career, with your whole life. It's really, really good. And I like the philosophical aspect to it. And then your other one, I think, now I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's not that different, but it's different. It's the same person, the same voice, but it's a little different angle on some of the same ideas, I guess.
And that's important for an author too, when you're telling in the voice of someone. There's certain things that individuality in each person brings to the table, and their voice is unique, and that's something for artists to remember too. You can't
Absolutely.
You can't be what you think other people are going to want you to be, and you have your own unique voice from your own life experiences. And I think that you, at least in the chapters that I read so far, um, great individual voices.
It's very distinct. People have their own voice, and that's an interesting point you bring up, because I've done a lot of editing, consulting and editing on books, which came about because of the Now Right series. I got kind of known, first of all, the screenwriter people were like, this is the best editing I've ever had. And I started to realize I have a special skill with with just helping polish and make a little more sense if something was dashed off and is not that clear. But I'm never stamping on someone's voice or intention. And I kind of over time realized I have my own creative outlets. I have my own screenplays, my own books, my own stories. So I have no need to impose my voice or intention on someone else's writing, which I've heard since then some editors do. They really tear into people's writing and try to make it their own. And I'm the opposite. It's like, I just want you to shine. And I learned that through doing these Now Right books, working with other writers. So after all that experience with the acting book, it's very much, I want your voice to shine through. And a lot of them were interviews. that I edited and then got approval, like I did with you. Sometimes people, some of the contributors to this wrote their own thing, and a lot of them did, and I just polished it and gave it back. Some of them were interviews, and with interviews, a lot of times I got more than one piece out of it, so that's kind of cool.
Well, I tell you what, edit mine away because, yeah, I mean, I love the onset of AI. It's helping me a lot. It's helping me a lot, kind of, and to, it's like really when you write a screenplay, and you can expand upon this, but when you write a screenplay, the character has its own voice. And so that might be different for me. I mean, you're the medium in which that's being told, but you have a obligation to live in the character's experience, and that's going to be different than your experience, and obviously the other characters too. So that must be similar in writing a book like this.
In a way, it is, and I teach screenwriting sometimes. Um, the voice, that's the easy part for me. I had to learn more about structure, and now I've studied and practiced so much. Now I'm good at teaching it to other writers. But some writers, I'll just share this. Some writers, they're more natural and intuitive with character, voice, scenes, themes. Some writers are stronger in plotting and the overall storytelling with the twists and turns. That's what I had to learn. So that's what I've learned. There's those two different things. Forgot where I was going with that, but the so I guess that does serve me in being comfortable with having so many voices in one book and just focusing in on whatever they want to say, help them say it in their voice. I had a lot of experience with it. Yeah, both in fiction, screenwriting, and nonfiction. I like that it's funny when I gave it to the agent, her assistant or somebody was coming back to me with how, something's inconsistent. It's like, do you not understand? It's a lot of different people and it's their
Yeah.
voice. It's
Isn't
not
it
about
interesting?
some quality prose. It's about people sharing from their heart what they want to share about their experience and what they're recommending.
Isn't it? It's so interesting because this is the second time this little nugget of thing I'm being called to share with the audience and everything is going back again. There are people out there that can't see your vision, can't imagine what you imagine.
So
They've not lived it. They don't understand what's inside of you. Um, and you can either hear their negation of your vision or your imagination or what you want to create, and then that stop you, or you can say, no, I know this is possible for me, and make that happen. And then all of a sudden you've got your project and they're like, oh, now I see it, you know. So it's similar to what
they
you're
probably
saying.
would. What you brought up is something really interesting that I think about a lot. There's delusion, which is maybe what someone that doesn't get your vision sees your idea as delusional. You're not going to be able to do it, or it's not going to work. And then there's vision, being a visionary and holding the vision, even if someone doesn't get it and they throw dirt on it or whatever, or try to dissuade you. If you have a strong vision, yeah, it might adapt a little bit because you want to be able to take in input. This did adapt over time, but a little bit. But I always had the idea and it got more and more clear. And there was, a long time where it was on and off. I didn't work on it constantly. And then the last few years, I got like very buckled down. Like, I want to finish this thing. I don't want to be working on this the rest of my life. And I know it has value. So,
Was there something
yeah,
that was
vision versus delusion. Yeah, it might seem like delusion. And there is something that's delusion that, yeah, this is impossible. I'm not going to be flying to the moon tomorrow. That would sound crazy, but I could write a book about flying to the moon.
but we have to be delusional. We have to
Yeah.
be irrational. We
You
have
have
to,
to be somewhat, yes, yes.
and everything otherwise just stays status quo. I mean,
Right.
there is a lot of irrationality taking over right now, right?
Right.
In a way that doesn't work. So
Destructive, yeah. But there's what you're saying, we have to be delusional. It's just revision it as visionary. I see something that doesn't exist yet. That doesn't mean it can't exist. It can exist. And when you actually take action and steps and work on something, it just becomes more and more real. And more people will start to see your vision, I guess.
yeah,
Get
and
it.
you know, there's again those roadblocks along the way, the obstacles, the objections, the whatever. But when you know true to be what you're creating in your imagination. And I would say that visionary is one thing, and then just to remind everybody, imagination is everything. Is everything. It's the bigger, it's when I imagine a character, when I imagine a screenplay, or I imagine for my personal life what I want to bring and manifest or magnetize toward me, I'm imagining with all my sensory. I'm utilizing emotional experience. I'm utilizing what it tastes like, smells like, feels like, what other people, they're in joy, there's a celebration. So imagining the outcome and bringing that to your present circumstance that will lift you up. That's and then that way you're not held to the objections or the limitations of somebody else. Structurally, society,
Yourself.
yeah.
It's like part of the job is overcoming the limitations inside yourself. It could be a tricky inside job, and starting to put your concept in front of people that can get it. I mean, that can be scary. That's your baby. And then as an actor, it's like you're a lot of times it's you that is being, judged, evaluated. So I could see that's even more scary. That like if I write a screenplay and I show it to you and you don't like it, that's my baby. You hurt me at first, but then usually there's some value in what people, if they get what I'm trying to do, then I will definitely take in their input and I'm going to do rewriting. As an actor, I have so much respect and admiration for actors. It's so gutsy to just, you have to go through a lot to be able to just put yourself out there and it's you. Like I always think of the scene in Chorus Line, you leave. And it's hard not to take it personally, but it's a lot of time not personal at all. And there's people talk about that in the casting director talks about that in the book, how you just can't take it personally because it could have some circumstance that has zero to do with you or it's nothing to do with your talent.
You landed that 100% accurately, and it's the same conversation applied to rejection. And I will say, I don't know, I think once in my life I ever felt rejected, and that was in a love relationship, and that was a long time ago. It was my first, it was the first time to feel that and then feel rejected in that capacity. I was like 20 years old, 21 years old, something like that. So, it's like the emotional context of being rejected for the first time, and then learning to shift how you relate to that quote unquote rejection. I just look at it from an abundance point of view. Everything is everyone's, and I'm not going to get this one, but I'm going to get the next one. There's something out there for me. There
Right.
was, there's a
Yeah.
script being written for me.
I'm looking for what's for me. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm
No,
looking
that's okay.
for what's for me, and what's for me is looking for me. Then you don't have to get too bogged down and hurt and upset when something you thought was for you and it wasn't. Well, apparently not. Maybe that was a great blessing that you didn't get that yes there because something's better coming, or it would have been a stressful, not a great fit. Trust your higher self.
100%. I've got a Rolodex of experiences going through my head right now of like those moments where if that worked out, then this would have happened. And I never approached it from the point of view of, rejection,
That's wise.
And then my high school theater teacher told me, don't take things personally. I learned that, bam, right away.
Smart.
um,
Good.
but don't you think sometimes it takes a hard lesson to really land it for you? That was what that was for me, and I'm grateful I learned it early on.
It takes experience, and I think it's kind of personal growth, self growth, spiritual growth, working through how am I going to live my life? How am I going to interpret things? Am I going to let things, inevitable types of experiences, knock me down and crush me? Or I'm going to get the positive lessons, whatever they are. I don't know yet, but I want to get the positive lesson that will maybe serve me in the future. That's been my philosophy, kind of.
100%. And you have to look at it that way. That way you learn it and you don't have to go through it again.
Ideally, you might from in a different angle, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because I was so sensitive. I was like this little sensitive, creative person that read a million books. took me a long time to start writing though. I was insecure. And so I needed a philosophy, a workable philosophy. So I was looking for that, and it's evolved over time.
What would that workable philosophy be if you could?
That's part of it, is
Yeah.
to get the positive lessons. I was in a class once, it's clairvoyant training, sidebar, but I was there for myself. But the teacher taught me something that I will never forget, which is most of us, we have an experience, we have emotions, and it's like the wrapper of the candy bar. I think of it as maybe more a nutritious granola bar, but it's, we get so caught up in the wrapping. Look at this, look at this, ah, and that's all the feelings we're experiencing. And she's like, most of us never even take off the wrapper and get what's inside, which is the positive lesson, the something that can serve us. And that's where we get hung up on our feelings and replaying them. That's when we get stuck in the past and just not being able to move forward, and something like getting your heart broken or whatever. If you take off the wrapper, there's a nutritious granola bar there. She thought of it as a candy bar, a Snickers. I don't know.
It's such a I mean, I've been emotional my entire life. As a kid, I was emotional. I was grateful that I'm grateful that my parents allowed me to express myself. And there's some, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you have to be a masochist to be an artist, but you know, I love feeling things. I love feeling things. Uh, the audience on Twitch will they've heard me say this before. Tennessee Williams said I couldn't possess my own life until I'd written about it. And then I took that and I applied it to my own, recognizing that I can't possess my own emotions until I'd acted them, through the lens of other characters, and other characters would allow me to express myself in a way that was utterly irrational and oftentimes violent, or oftentimes um, and I wanted to experience that, but I wanted to experience it from the actor being stoic and then the character being able to express those human qualities. So I think
Mm.
that's
And it
why.
must help you process it. You know, you bring up something that I would like to mention, that
Yeah.
is something I talk about a little bit in my little introduction in the book. My perspective on actors is that they have this great service and gift to do for society, which is being able to feel, experience, express this wide range of emotions and all the little nuances. It's such an important part of being human in our society and culture, especially, that is not encouraged, or its weakness. So to me, it's a great gift that actors give. It's important, sacred thing, or part of the process that actors do, that is a gift to us. That's why I admire and respect it so much. I think it's more important than just entertaining us. It has another function for the
And
audience.
that's the 100%. And that's the misunderstanding of, like, a lot of people think, and that I've got five things in my head. That's the misunderstanding that people think about, as actors, is that they just want to be in the limelight, or they just want to, or how do you memorize all those lines, or, whatever. It is something, it's a gift that they're willing to be vulnerable, and a willingness to hold a mirror up to the lens of society, or to society, and say, hey, this is you guys. I'm just the messenger. And I think it's Devell says actors doing the Lord's work. Oh Lord. That's my husband. Sweet Pop Dreams says, or sing a song flying to the moon. I don't know what that, but that was, singing. I don't know. I'm just reading some of the chat. Um, anyway, okay, cool. We'll go back to that a little bit later.
I
But
just
I
had another
yeah,
thought from what you just said. No, it just slipped my mind. It's okay. It's not just expressing it and showing what it looks like. It's like giving permission and showing the audience, giving someone in the audience permission to have their feelings, if they're like a tough stoic guy, and that it doesn't kill you. It does feel like it. I know how that is. When emotion is overwhelming you, it's like being caught up in a wave, and you're spinning up around and you feel like you're going to drown. But eventually the wave goes out, and hopefully you didn't drown with
and you're
emotion.
stronger for it.
Right. I
Uh,
survived that. I can walk out the water. Well,
and
I
you
think it's awesome what actors do.
and it's a mentor of mine once said, walk through the world with an open broken heart, and you're not trying to fix it. You're just it's been broken, and with that openness that the heart's been broken, you can feel, you can be empathetic, you can be compassionate, creative, and that openness, it's just it stays with me. And so I think that's in line with what you're saying. um
But
we can
showing
either
that you can survive it, and then yeah, showing what it looks like, what it feel like, it's okay. Because a lot of times a great actor makes us have the same feeling. We start to cry or we laugh or whatever. And what you said makes me think, what's that Japanese thing where the gold comes in when something's cracked and they fill it
oh
with gold?
yeah, I watched a little documentary on that. Charlie will know.
I can't think what it's called.
Yeah, it's mending it in a way that reminds us of the crack, but
Yeah. It's
it's
still
even more
there, but now
beautiful.
it's something very beautiful holding it together. That's what I'm seeing when you talk about, what did you say? The
Open
open
broken
broken
heart.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And it gives you what is it? It gives you permission um to feel and to experience. And sadly, a lot of people just harden it and then shut off and don't want to experience that again because they can't look at it as the lesson that it was. Um,
That's the gift that actors, it's to me like the underlying precious thing that actors give to an audience.
and because I want to get into some of the other interviews that you talked about and some things that really landed for you, and you hit on that really um, eloquently, and I appreciate it. And I know other actors do too, and you've been in the business, so you've seen it. Um, there is, the when you show up as an actor on a set, you're, um, I always ask actors, what is the one thing the actor brings to the table that nobody else can bring to the table? And the writer's already written, the camera's already been positioned, the director's already got their vision, they're behind the scenes, everybody's behind the scenes. Art direction is already there. The one and the blueprint's already been made. What is the one thing that actors bring to the table that nobody else can in that moment is the humanity. And it requires us in real time, whether it be stage, right? So on stage, you're in real time living those vulnerabilities, in real time exposing yourself. And then you're also, if it's a film or television, it comes out a year later, you know, and you're exposing yourself again. So, um, and I love that about film. It's like I'm working now on a set, and then in a year from now, when it comes out, I'll be, walking around the festivals and going to the screenings, working again, same
Oh,
project. Um,
awesome.
so I'm gonna ask you some of the questions, and we can go from there. But I really want to talk to you about like the other, like some things that you gain from, because when we talk about relationships, everything is relationships, everything. What are some of the things you gained from connecting with the other artists,
Mhm.
the other contributors, gain from yourself, etc.?
First of all, I love your contribution, and I think it's relationships and agreements are your two different pieces. So they're sort of interconnected, but I broke them out into two separate pieces. It is a lot about relationships. I mean, first of all, actors are very generous people, generally speaking, I have found. They will get on a Zoom and talk with me for an hour, and it's like so fun to talk about it, and also realize I know more about it than I thought. I guess coming from a different angle, filmmaking and writing, I can hold my own in a conversation with an extremely accomplished actor. And that was just, maybe it's the ego thing. It just felt good, but it was just like the conversation would just flow just like this. It's like, that's my people. Creative people are my people, whether it's acting, writing, or whatever. Those are my people. So I do tend to connect on a pretty deep level with them. I understand them. They understand me. It feels like. So that has been very fun. And also, everyone is so different. I have people of different ages, people from different countries. It's it's been cool.
Y'all see that joy on her face? This is what creativity brings. It might be trial and error and frustration and obstacles and things to overcome along the way, but when you accomplish it, I mean, it's an inspiration for me because it's a pretty intense
That's extreme. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of challenges. There was years back when I had some things that were just an audio. It's like, how am I going to transcribe this? I got someone to just transcribe some. I edited things. I just Now it's a lot easier. I can have AI transcribe, and that helped a lot. But just like getting to people I have my heart set on that I think would be good, but maybe their PR person won't pass it on. I'm not sure how to get to them. I think getting a few more people for this book is going to be a little easier now that I have something to show. I have a website, I have something, I'm going to have quotes, and um, so it's been very challenging. And sticking with something for so long, on and off, and having your proposal, and then agents not wanting to take it on. I'm so finally like, I'll just do it myself. I thought it would be easier because the Now Write books, well, they haven't sold a million, so the Now Write books are quite successful. They're still selling
Yeah.
10, 15 years later. So in my view, that's a success, but I don't know. So
Oh,
I
I
have
think
to
so.
hold the vision, keep going, and overcome obstacles. And it's also just a lot of work. Just formatting it into that book was a huge amount of work, but a labor of love. I
Hmm.
mean, the whole thing has been a labor of love, honestly, because I don't know what the results are going to be, but I think it is something of value. And I just had a little meet and greet in LA for some of my contributors in LA to give them their book in person, take their picture, and a few showed up for that. And it was just a joyful experience, seeing people how proud they are to be part of it, how happy they are, how much they like the cover, they get it. It's like that theater style. And that was like, to me, the beginning of starting to share it, and it felt very good.
You sent me that text and I was like, oh, I wish I could be there.
I wish you
Oh.
could have too. That would have been, it was so much fun. It was really
Um,
fun. And then also having them meet each other. It
mhm.
just was really fun.
And so that's another great point is this is what I remind people of all the time. When you create work, actors come and they say to me, how I need an agent, I need a manager. And I say, well, are you working? And they would say, nope. I'm like, well, work, and then and create. And in that process, you're developing relationships. And then that person knows you. And that person says, oh, wow, this person shows up. This person's there. This person contributes. You don't know them, but I highly recommend them. And because that person has a relationship with somebody else, then that somebody else calls you and says, hey, will you come do this project? You come highly recommended. And that's why I've always said, I don't know if who told me this, but it resonated a long time ago. It's not who you know, it's who knows you and your reputation and how you show up in every single moment. Um, and then, so that's important. And what you've done is exemplified that in bringing all these people together. And you built relationships through that are going
We
to go
definitely
way
have.
beyond you.
Who knows? I mean, maybe some of these people will eventually read a script of mine or be in something of mine. I actually have a couple things that are starting to move forward for the first time. So who
Yes.
knows? Maybe, oh, I know this actor that might be good. Also, you bring up a good point. There's a whole chapter in the book about creating your own content, different way approaches for that, how you can be an actor in different realms and be of service to others. I mean, like I said, I think you're of service to others no matter what. But anyway, there's a lot of angles in there. There's a lot of ideas and food for thought of things you can do to not just be waiting around. Like an actor traditionally is waiting to be invited, whereas as a writer, I can just start writing. No one might ever read it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but I can be in that process of creating, which I get a lot of joy from. Ideally, you complete the circle of energy and other people will get to experience it. But I can also just do it. Whereas actors traditionally, not so much. But I have like contributors that are YouTube sort of stars that talk about how they just got started doing their little thing and how successful it was. And how, like, one of them, she during the pandemic started doing those little TikTok type of things where she's playing different characters and it's real fast. And she got such a big audience from that, and it's led her to um, more traditional opportunities.
Is that Stanzi?
Yes,
Yeah. That just
amazing.
while you mention it, you guys, this brings multiple mediums together too. So
Yeah,
multiple, and what Laurie is saying here, what I'm hearing her say is that there's multiple there's multiple ways to get your voice out there. There's multiple ways of being of service. And when you start creating, and now more than ever, an actor has an opportunity to create their own work
absolutely.
in a way.
And Fury, I know that's read Stanzi's first thing first. Stanzi. There's another
What is
YouTuber,
it? Stanzi?
Stanzi Potenza, I think is how she
Okay.
pronounces it. There's another one who was like not getting anywhere. She has one piece in this book, two in the other book, and Stanzi has another in the other book. She also, during the pandemic, started creating something, and she got 1 million views overnight for this thing. So she started getting really into this, and she found that going to the audition, it wasn't so loaded for her, and she could relax, and she started getting hired after doing her own thing. Isn't that cool? Because she
This is
relaxed. She
Yeah,
relaxed.
because she was able to relax because she had built the confidence. And there's two things here. She built the confidence by overcoming a struggle that and then she created the solution for herself. And then that built confidence. And then she was able to create a through line, so that this is a part of going back to rejection. The through line project for any artist, particularly as we're speaking about actors, is if you've got your own project that you're working on, that is the key answer, I think, to any kind of no that you might get in the industry. Because if I get a no in this audition, so what? I'm going back because I'm writing this script. So what? I'm going back because I'm working on
So
this
what?
project that I'm
That's
creating.
the name of her piece, by the way.
Oh, is it?
So what?
Okay.
That was,
So
she
what?
called it the so what attitude, because she was doing this, and it was like having a creative outlet now. She had a
Yeah.
creative outlet, a creative focus. So she'd go to her audition and she'd go back to that. And she's just had a so what attitude. And it came across more confident, I guess, in the audition.
And you
More
build trust with
enjoyable for her. She
it
could
was what?
play with it more, her audition.
Yeah. Because you're like, here I am. This is me. This has worked. This me has worked. You want it or you don't, you know? Um,
Exactly.
it, back when I'm gonna look her up too, because I'm sure I
That's
know.
Winter
I'm sure
Bassett. Winter
I've seen.
Bassett wrote that. And guess what? Since I've met her, her movie came out. She co-produced and starred in a horror movie, and it's really good. And
Yeah, what's
got
it called?
distribution. And I mean, she's on it. So she took that, doing a TikTok thing with her playing a few characters, but like Stanzi, they both did a similar thing. Very different content, but the same idea. From that, she took that, I'm going to create my own content with a group of friends, and made a movie. And I'm sure they're working on another one because they've done well with the first one.
That's it. For me, I mean, this was before, all the social media stuff back in 2006. I wrote a one-man show because I wasn't getting cast.
That's another great option.
Yeah. And then you can take that one-man show and now apply it to social media and now apply it to, whatever medium you want to. But I
That's
was
a
like,
good idea.
yeah.
Like you
Oh,
could break it
absolutely.
into little webisode episodes if it's a full play or one
And
man.
that's why I like this platform, Twitch platform, is because you can do that same thing here. And that's the mechanics are my difficulty, my struggle, but I'm relating to that. And that's not my problem anymore.
Yeah, you're overcoming it. You're
Yeah.
learning by
Yeah.
doing.
Um, but I wanted to do something. I wanted to have my thing. And I had a great life. Nobody wanted to see a one-man show by some dude who had a great life, but then things started coming into my awareness, like my admiration for Tennessee Williams. And then these characters carried me through a lot. And so I was like, okay, I'll just do this show. Long story short, that was my through line project. And I can connect everything I've done since then back to that in one way or another.
Wow.
Um, so good advice. Good advice. Absolutely.
There's
Right
a lot
there.
of good advice in Now Act.
So I put the link back up, you guys. I tell you what, uh, this is good for also streamers, musicians, artists of any medium. Um, it's mentorship. I always recommend if you get a, if well, I'll say with this book particularly, if you do get this book, um, get the hard copy. And this is why I always recommend this for my students, anybody that I'm teaching. Get the hard copy of something so you can isolate yourself away from the distractions of your computer, social media, etc. Get your actor journal, get your writer journal or whatever, and then just go spend some time. And then after each chapter, you give some insights. Right? You give some action
Yeah,
advice.
the structure is structured on the Now Right. This is kind of a cute story. It's structured on Now Right, where there's an introductory essay that's could be about the person's, professional experience or history, and then also setting the stage for, so to speak, their exercise, their writing exercise. And when I started on this book, I was calling it exercise, and a friend of mine said, actors don't do exercises, they do preparation. Everything is preparation. And I slowly moved toward to now I call all of the piece of those preparation. Um,
That's I love that. Yeah, I noticed that.
I adapted.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I had actually never heard of that, so I agree. I agree. Um,
A friend of mine, longtime friend, childhood friend, who has done tons of Broadway. She's also someone I invited fairly early because I wanted her to be in it. I mean, and now she had to wait forever for it to be done, but now it's done and it's in the mail to her. I'm so excited to see what she thinks.
it's so interesting. I when we set goals for ourselves and we set intentions for ourselves, and then I was just thinking, it was my goal to have my book done, or at least the first draft done by the end of this year. And it's in the looks of collaboration with you for now. But you have inspired me to complete it and finish it. But mine's gonna be racy. It's gonna be a lot of secrets, a lot of, you know,
Good.
you know, um, it's gonna be pretty deep and dirty. The actor's journey. Well, I might as well live my life is what it's called. And it's just,
Oh, good.
stories and experiences that I had and not holding out. But I got a lot of work to do on that one. So you've been an inspiration for that
You know what?
capacity.
I'm going to interject something here.
Please do.
There's an insidious thing that can get in the way of finishing your work because the next step is sharing it. And that, like I said, completes the circle of energy of you creating and then putting it out there. It scared at how people are going to react. Just like going to an audition, I guess. It's like that. One of the things that could hold you back from even going to the audition and something deep and sneaky inside of you is just giving you an excuse not to go. I'm too busy today. I don't want to get in traffic. But really, I'm afraid of maybe the rejection or what. I'm afraid of the outcome. I'm afraid of what people are going to say. And that can make you stuck on a project for a really long time. Like when you said there's secrets, it's racy. There's probably could be a part of you that is a little nervous about what someone is going to say or how they're going to react to it. They may not like it, but that's okay. You can overcome that.
I thank you so much. I appreciate that. I will definitely look at that. I don't. I mean, I think for me, this is what's happened in my lived experience the last 2-3 years is that I've done so much, and then I know how much work it's going to take to accomplish something.
Right.
And I know me, I become obsessed. I become all in. It like other things just kind of fall off the face of the planet until I fulfill it and accomplish it. I'm deliberately making it racy for that reason. I'm
Good.
deliberately making it juicy because I think that there's, authenticity and making other people realize that they're not alone and that we whatever world we live in around shame or around of what other people are going to think is irrelevant to your perspective on the story, and
Mhm.
other people need to hear your voice and how you
Right.
experienced it.
And you have no idea who you're going to impact in a positive way. And so maybe it's more like, I tend to be unrealistic about how long something's going to take, obviously. I've gotten a little better at understanding it. It's like maybe I'm overconfident. Like I can get something done in this one day, but it's going to take a week. or whatever. So yeah, things just aren't as fast as you want. And when you really committed and in something, it just could take longer than you expect because you want to do it excellently. No perfection, no such thing. But
Yeah.
you want to be able to say, this is how I saw it to being excellently done.
That's
And it might take more time than you thought. So yes, I
yeah.
get it. I get that.
Yeah. I you know, I don't know. I don't mind being messy, and it's sometimes a flaw. Sometimes it's like, dot that T, cross that I, Brionne. I'm like, somebody else can dot that T. I'm getting my message out. Like, here it is.
Yeah,
But
you don't have to be super. There's also, you brought up a couple things. One thing is 80%, 20% rather than 100%. Sometimes it's worth sending something out that's 80%. Like this book, I knew there was gonna be a couple errors coming up, and I'm like, let me just move forward and getting it to my contributors, and they'll let me know if they see a mistake. And then I saw a little mistake that I just fixed. But what was the other thing? Oh,
it's okay. I cover a lot and
you
I
just
go
said
off and
that
on.
was so thought provoking to me. It's the 80%, and it's the oh, I know, drafts in screenwriting. And probably not writing. We talk about the first draft is for you. It's the right brain. It's getting all of your ideas out into paper, and this is what I recommend for creators because it just helps you to just get it out without any restriction at all. I'm not trying to format it. I'm not trying to put it in a structure that makes sense. I just want to get all my ideas out of me. And then the second draft can be starting to shape it for someone else to understand it, structure it. So whether it's a book, a screenplay, or even a performance, I would think as an actor, it could be just letting yourself be totally free with the right brain, and then the left brain can come in and help you shape it. And that is a really creative process too. It's not left brain just they work together at that point. But to
Yeah.
give yourself just free rein, your inner child, your genius, creative genius that is not going to have it all shaped for others yet. Let that part of you do the first draft, whatever it is.
I
That's my
really appreciate that because that works. That is absolutely true for me too. Um, and just because I have 3 Google Docs of 3 different projects, and and I'll be in, page 2 or 3 of something, and feel like I need to edit it, feel like I need to, you
yeah.
know, and what you're sharing is that just, you know, Jack Kerouac it, just put it all onto paper. And Jack Kerouac is an author, everybody. He wrote he wrote On the Road, Beatnik Generation. Anyway, so we need some more of those these days, I think.
Yes,
Uh
and you could shape it later. It's like I'm like that too. I'm the type. Okay, little food for thought. I don't. You can tell me how this relates to actors.
okay.
I had a creative writing teacher, the one that actually got me writing. I cried after the first day because I'm like, this is my teacher that can help me. And I just sat in the steps and started to cry.
Love that.
He was so encouraging and smart and good. And he was like, you
It's okay. We
gems,
got it.
I might forget them. He
We're in
said
it.
there's different types of writers where he had a lot of words of wisdom. That's why it was hard to me call up that one just now. There's what he called the introvert writer and the extrovert, not personality or style. It more, that's your relationship with your writing. Sometimes the introvert writer, it's cooking and cooking and cooking inside of them, and it just comes out whole and complete. They do all the work internally. Then there's the what he called the extrovert writer, who is getting a lot of ideas and input from lots of different places, and it's going through them and then coming out, and they have to do a lot of editing. That's me. It's like I have to change a lot, and I can't help but do it sometimes in my first draft, but I'm not trying to get it totally polished. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But there's this, but sometimes the introvert style tends to feel very blocked because they can't write, but it's just working, working, working inside of them, like and then a poem will just come out and they don't have to change a word. I would love to be able to do that. That's not me. I'm the other style. I read something, oh, I get that idea. Okay, I learned something in the news. Okay, I'm going to put that. That would work with this, or this historical thing. this sentence someone once said, it worked for this character, so let me add that. So it takes both kinds, I guess, and there's
Yeah, it
probably a
certainly does. It certainly does. And
continuum. You might be in the middle of both. I don't know.
it's
How does
Charlie
that
might hear me
does
every
that
now and
work
then.
for actors?
Do
Does that
what?
does that concept make any sense for an actor?
As I relate to it as an actor, and I think Viola Davis really lands this. Uh, there's no one right way, and you're always asking. And the reason why I mention her is because she just kind of validated some things that I already believe and know when she said this. Um, and it always helps to have someone like her, validate, your philosophies. And I approach everything from curiosity, discovery, and possibility. And if you approach everything from that angle, it frees you up. It frees you up emotionally. You're open, you're asking the questions, you're answering them for yourself, and that applies in choices you make as an actor. There's the 180 camera rule, right? Well, I apply that you can have a 180 rule for actors. And that 180 is, how can I flip this completely on its head in an unexpected way and ask if it works? Does it work this way? This is how this was presented. How can I reinterpret it in a way that is not as expositional or expected, or and sometimes it works and it's fantastic. Sometimes it doesn't work, and so you try something else. um and then yeah, I think that is definitely applicable when you're exploring the human experience and human condition, no matter what medium it's in, for
That
sure.
what you just said makes also sense to what I was saying about a first draft versus a second draft. It's like you might have a concept as you're reading a script, or you make some notes, or you're whatever unconscious stuff is coming out, and then if you want to, you're looking at it a little more, what I'm calling left brain, more logically, and that might be where the idea comes to how you're going to flip something completely, because you're just looking at it from a different perspective, not just such a gushing out of ideas. Now it's more, how am I going to structure this? Oh, maybe I could flip this completely. That's what that happens with editing too, and creating your later drafts. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, wait a minute, this scene goes better here because of this reason. There's a logic in there, but it's still a creative process.
And
So
you can't anticipate that. you
yeah,
can't
no,
you can't blueprint that.
no,
And
you have to do the work of letting it out.
exactly. And you can't plan how you're going to feel about it. So in a scene, as an actor, you can't
Mm,
plan, I'm going to feel this here. You can't do that, because the other actor is going to give you something, and if you're blocked, you're trying to make it the way that you think it's supposed to be, then you're going to miss the nuance of the improvisation of emotional experience. And the same, I think, with writing. You have an idea, free yourself up to let it begin to create itself. That's what I'm hearing you say. Yeah.
yes, and then you can come later to sort of shape it with more consciousness. I think it has something to do with more subconscious versus conscious work, is maybe what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Because we can be, technical up here, but when we're really living in it, we can. It's like the logic doesn't, it works to manufacture something, but it doesn't work when it wants to live, when it wants to be a
Right.
living, breathing thing.
It needs to go to the side. For a writer, it might be a little different for an actor, because you have to bring that initial impulse all the way through and be and follow an impulse in the moment within a scene that you
Yeah.
hadn't anticipated. Whereas a writer is going to be creating a finished thing, not necessarily if it's a screenplay, it's a blueprint, but that unconscious work is more the early work, and it'll come up again
Yeah.
too. Like I woke up from a dream and oh, that's perfect for that scene. But
Do you, when you do
a little
that,
bit
why
different, but very similar, I'm saying.
say that again?
I think it's a little different process because you want to be in that unconscious thing all the way through, where there's times I need a big chunk of time to organize this into something, but it's still a creative process. It's just a different part of your brain, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, and I think, once it's all said and done, you know, and it's up on the big screen, then that's where you let it all go. And you're like,
Right.
I did
And not
everything that I
still, I guess.
could. You guys were talking to Laurie Lamson here. She is the author and creator of a book called Now Act. I recommend for any streamer. I recommend for any artist out there. Get a hard copy, because having a hard copy of a script, a book is, I think, in my experience, is essential to being able to isolate yourself and dive into something, and go on an experience, a journey of self-reflection, etc., and learn from these great,
This kind of
great
book,
people.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Especially this kind of book, as I said in the beginning, because it's not necessarily a linear experience reading it. You might go to different chapters out of order, and that is not as an ebook. There's going to be a version of one. It's not there yet, but it's not as conducive to that. I don't think a book you could just open to whatever page you want.
Yeah, and you're saying you can do this with this one, and I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what you're
Yeah,
saying?
it's like, oh, I'm focusing on this topic today. Let me just read that chapter.
Yeah,
And it's not right beginning to end. It's a non-linear experience. A lot of that's what people have had with the Now Right books too.
yeah,
Not necessarily, some of them are like, I'm just gonna read it all the way through and it's really interesting and not do any exercises. I'm just gonna read it because it's
uh-huh.
interesting. And then later on, they like, oh, I want to look at that chapter again because that's going to apply to what I'm doing right now. And I see this book kind of the same way. It's probably has the same use.
Yeah, and you don't know what you're going to get, so you could get something, you could get something from the chapter on real life preparation, uh, that you might be wanting to, but you think you're going to go to audition, the audition chapter, but you get something from real life preparation that fuels that information too. So I like a book like this because I've got all this shadow in my head. Uh, the having, short, readable, digestible chapters. I can wake up in the morning, read a chapter, and then have that be the thing I think about through the day, or I begin my day with. And so it's digestible, it's quick, each chapter is quick read. I love books like that, and that comes from a true experience. Okay. We're at the hour mark. You got time? We got, are we doing okay on time for you?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you in it? We're at what we were going to do an hour
Whatever
and
you
a half.
want.
So I'm just checking in.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Whatever.
Awesome. Um, so we've answered some of this, but I'm going to kind of just make sure there's a clarification, and also chat. If you have any questions, or observations or anything that you want to share with Laurie, please throw it up in the chat. Let's see. Hold on. Don't forget to put her book in our book recommendations in Discord. Yes, I will for sure. Thank you. Thank you, Sweet Pop. Sweet Pop Dreams, he's on Twitch, and they suggested that I create a book chapter in my Discord. So they're
Oh,
reminding me to put that up on Discord. So
nice. I just shared with you my Amazon link in the website for the
okay.
book.
Okay,
I
actually,
also had it somewhere else, but I'm running out of them, so I don't know if
oh,
I have
okay.
any more for sale
Well,
right now.
well, I shared the website in the chat. Uh let me go. Okay, yeah. So this is on Amazon. You guys can get it there. Um and don't wait. These are flying off the shelves. I'm kidding. But yes, they're going to. So get it. Get it while you can.
I was selling it through my creative freedom shop. That's
Uh-huh.
something else I created to support creative people, all different kinds of creative people. That's what I like to do, is help empower them. So, but I
Oh,
have so
hold on a
many
second.
Stanzi
Missy, I'm sorry. I said hardback, and that just means tangible. So
no, paperback. It's a
it's
paperback.
it's paperback, but yes. Um there we go. All right. So I'm sorry, Laurie, go ahead.
Um, what do I keep dropping out? My mind wants to. Oh yeah, I had so many books, and for some reason, Amazon sent me a bunch damaged. They send them in a box. This is where things get frustrating sometimes.
Um,
Unexpected. I ordered such and so amount of books to send every contributor one, and then have some for sale through the holidays. And then they were packed not well. Amazon's been a book company for 25 years. For some reason, they didn't pack the books the way normally would be. So they're all sloshing around and damaging each other. I don't have as much as I thought, but I had enough for the contributors.
Mhm.
And then, but I've run out of my extras. So now it's just Amazon. And by the way, the Amazon's going to have the corrections. So might as
Oh,
well.
okay, cool. So Missy, it's a paperback, and I apologize when I say hard copy. I just mean it's a tangible, it's a
Right.
tangible version of it. Um, so, and I put the link up in the Twitch chat as well. For the website, there's other things that Laurie has going on there too that you can peruse. Um, that reminded me of a question I was going to ask you, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Um, the you know the question why, like, why do we do things, why do we wake up in the morning, why do we create something, what is your why, uh and this is for the audience, and to reflect on what is the why, and how deep can you go with that why. And I would like to ask you, what is your why of writing this book, waking up in the morning, etc. What's your why, and how deep does it go?
Well, it's a very important question to give perspective. If you don't mind, I'll say a couple things. My
Please
mom
do.
is a psychologist and clinical psychologist, and she said that the greatest pain that she witnessed is not having purpose. It's not living without love. That you can live without. It's purpose. If you don't have a sense of purpose, those are the people that suffer the most, my mother said. So I found it like I have to find my purpose. And I knew it was something creative. I wanted to be a writer since I learned how to read. It took a long time to embrace it, and I'm still learning and growing. In this particular book, like I said, it just was an inspiration after the Now Write books, like, oh, actors might like this. And they don't have this kind of thing. Writers have lots of those kind of books, like the Now Write series. Well, not a huge amount, but there's anthologies, but actors don't have an anthology of so many different voices together, all these different perspectives. And I found people got so much value from the Now Write books having that approach. Why not give that to actors, people that I admire and respect and love and like to collaborate with? So, like most creatives, I say this on my site, creatives tend to be lifelong learners like myself. So no matter your age or experience as an actor, I think you could get something out of this. Um, I guess my why for this particular book was that I guess I saw a need and I saw that I uniquely qualified to fill it, having worked on 3 writing books and having a great rapport with actors from before, from film school. I always got along well with actors, so I'm like, I'm kind of uniquely qualified to make this happen. Didn't know it's going to take so long, but and I was called to do it. It's like to be of service to my fellow creative people is a big part. There's to create, to have my soul be fulfilled in creating my own ideas into
And
stories.
having a
Right?
legacy. And
And then there's supporting other creatives. And it's partly because I had such a struggle to get there, to embrace myself as a writer and my own voice. That was a big part of my block. I think you mentioned it's like I had writers from very young that I really admired, Charles Dickens and
mhm.
all kind every the range because I was a avid reader. But it's like I'll never be as good as this one and that one. That was in the back of my head for decades. And then finally I started to understand it was self-work, self-growth work that made me understand I can't do them, but I have my own I could be a great me. I know it sounds obvious, but I
Well,
have my
no,
own
I'm
voice. I have
no,
my own voice.
you hit on something really particular, and um I think sometimes artists or people in the world may think, oh, I'm carbon copying, or I'm like, I feel like I'm neglecting the fact that we inspire generations, we inspire one after the other. And if we don't utilize our voice, then that voice gets squashed and we don't evolve as quickly, because that one person's experience that chose not to do the thing they were called to do gets doesn't get exposed, and so we don't evolve as quickly. You're going to say something, or I feel like,
You're making me think something, if you don't mind.
yeah, please go right ahead.
I have this on this site. Okay, so aside from my own creative development, I got inspired to help others. That's why I edit books, I do coaching, I do other stuff. Creativefreedomnow.com. And my big turning point, which I think is related to what you're talking about, was I was at this event, and I have this on the site. Martha Graham has this great quote, and I heard this in a context of meditating and being in this whole 3-day event, and it completely changed me. Can I read it for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. There's a vitality, a life force, and energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there's only one of you in all of time, this expression is unique. If you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost. It's painful for someone who's not acting on their creative. I know. I've said this quote to someone and they got mad at me. To me, it was like, that's not fair. I'm like, but it's true. It totally changed me. From that, it's like, now I had this fire. There's only one of me in all of time. My ideas for scripts or whatever, wherever it takes me, I have to do it. It was put into me. It has to happen. So I think that's what changed my life. It's you have a responsibility to your own creativity. That is my thing. What the results are, how famous you are, how much you sell or something, that is not really in your hands. I might have heard about this from Artist Way, but it's not where I got it. I was in this event, altered state,
Yeah.
hearing these words, and it like sunk in all the way. It's like, oh,
Wow.
that's my issue. I have to understand that.
And it's so true. So I'm really glad that I asked that question, because that hits it on the head. And I think it's interesting that person got mad at you, because it's probably true for them. And there's another way that that person, I would think, could look at that experience, reflect, oh, I'm getting mad.
Right.
Might be some truth or defensive, and it's okay. Like, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to say, hey, I know that there's something, and I've been going through this. I know that there's something on the other side of this for me. I just needed to walk away for a little bit. I needed to kind of regroup, experience some other part of life than the obsession that I had for so long, with my career, and then experience that, and then give yourself that grace that it's going to come back, because this experience of recalibration is going to fuel the next thing.
Yes, or it might come out different. You might have a new perspective. It's that recharging and refreshing yourself is very valuable. This person, I would say, is super mad. It just annoyed because I pushed a button and I knew I would, but because this is a person with tremendous talent and ideas and vision, and who I can relate to this too, tends to focus on other people's project, or, let things distract them from that, and let the other things pile up that are also fun and good to do. But there's this thing eating at them. That's what was happening to me. Something was eating at me. I worked at a production company, and I would come home and lie on my futon, just like drool coming out, just depressed. Because I knew there was something that wanted to come up, but I just couldn't get motivated. And I think that was the turning point, was when I was in this experience and hearing that quote, and it just sunk into me. There's only one of you in all of time. You might have a million other lifetimes, but there's you now, has this perspective, this creativity, this project they want to do.
Well,
So
you
I urge you to take steps, take the baby steps.
yeah, you landed that for me for sure. And this is the beginning of, in the past couple of months, I've been, um, you know, moving to Chicago has been, fuel for that fire. Just things, realizing and accepting, I didn't know to the degree in which I would need to start over in terms of having my local community, but that's also not true. I know people here. Right now, it's choosing to go out, choosing to share my gifts, choosing to contribute, choosing to be involved, and that's the reawakening of this for me, and then you writing the book, and the people in here that I know, and just kind of reviving this excitement and this joy, especially when there's so many things that we can see that are dark, and it's essential that we
Yeah. You
now
got to
more than
rise
ever.
above, be
Yeah.
part of the solution, and
Yeah.
focus on your own journey, life journey. That's what matters. And but give yourself a break. And I know you are. You understand you were maybe like hibernating,
Mhm.
um, recharging, refreshing, so you can come out of your cocoon with a new perspective and new wings.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And yeah, all that's in there. And the, the question for me, in terms of the why, and usually it just goes down to I want to matter, and there's nothing wrong with I wanting to matter, and there's nothing, I worked for Dom DeLuise, and he taught me how to take a bow. and and it's a matter, and this is for everybody, it's you get when the audience is saying thank you, or the clapping, or people are sending you an email saying thank you so much for doing that. um that is you creating abundance. And the second you go, oh, don't worry about it, then, not that I've never been that person, but I'm just saying in terms of like blocking the creative flow and abundance of not accepting appreciation,
Yes,
or thinking
that's
that
the full circle.
it's a full circle. It's a full circle. um Dom
And
DeLuise.
first of all, and by the way, you do matter no matter what. You
It's
could
true.
sit in a
It's true.
cave for the rest of your life and you would still matter because your vibrations would be emanating out and affecting us.
It's 100% true. And what I mean by mattering is what you were saying earlier about listening to that call, and 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 creating, because you are obligated, in a
You're
way.
obligated.
You are obligated to do that.
The
Just like when you take.
action, baby steps,
Yeah.
whatever it takes. In the full circle, real quick, to say it's like sharing, and then how people respond comes back. And that's sometimes what we're afraid of. But if you put your heart in something, ideally, you're going to hit with the people that can get the most from it. And it's something positive is going to come back to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trust that. We got to
um
trust that.
but that the answer to that question, I was working on in a with a group of leaders, and one of the mentors in that session asked me, um what the collective, like, what is your why? And then you just ask why and why and why and why. You could do that as in your actor process
Mm,
too. And why and why and why do you want to do a event space? Why do you want to do this? Why do you? And it got to the place that was unconscious, and it was more of a spiritual. You get to matter. You need to matter. You need to influence lives. You have to do this because you're being called to do it. So it was like, it wasn't this, it was something deeper that I wasn't even aware of, you know.
mm.
And it's a I think that's true for all of us. um you know you matter to your children that you raise, you matter to the students that you teach, you matter to, and you're, and so that's the legacy you leave behind. That's the evolution that is essential for us to continue to prosper um and build.
Yes.
um okay, let's see.
Great.
You've touched on a couple of those things. I'm going through the questions I sent you just so I can make sure we cover relationships you've created through your creation of the book. We talked about that. Is there anything in terms of relationships, or you know next steps, something new for you, that you hadn't experienced before?
Yes.
Or yeah, go ahead.
Not necessarily from the book.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I don't know. But I just want to throw in there too. Part of the why is win, win, win. I want win for myself, for others, and others. And I got that from doing a lot of script writing with production companies for corporate and government clients. So it's me, it's four wins if possible. Me, them, their client, and whoever their client is serving
And that
with our
expands and
project.
expands and expands, just goes all out there. Everybody's winning. If you win,
Yes,
everybody
that's
wins.
and that is an abundance. If we're going to talk about that, not that
Yeah,
I
let's do it.
wanted to say something jinxy, but that is the abundance attitude, I think, that is the easiest to cultivate, is that I want wins for myself and for others. That's how to get the energy flowing, maybe. Just think on that for a bit.
Yeah.
And I know you do. I'm just
Yeah.
sharing with whoever's listening.
For sure. And I think that this, which the idea of quote unquote competition, uh, just kind of comes up with that, and what you're creating is wins for everybody. And the reason why I say competition is because so often we're approaching something. I think that's where some of the insecurity comes from with a lot of people, is what they're going to think about me, or will I win, or I. And what you're saying is that it's not only for you, but your win is everybody's win. And
I hope so. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it certainly
I
is for
want it to
me,
be. I mean, that's my intention. I want it to be. I want, when I say win, I mean accomplishment, success, completing something.
Yeah. And it builds confidence. Completing builds confidence. Doing something, even if you quote unquote fail, or quote unquote get rejected, that builds confidence. It 100% builds confidence.
Yeah. And
Uh,
sometimes people surprise you how much, if you've evolved your project and you can talk about it, it helps. This is my new thing that is happening probably for the first time. Um, I have screenplays and I had them way in the back burner. Like, I'm not sure how to go from here to there as far as funding and moving forward. I'm just the writer. I shouldn't say just. I've produced short things and directed things. But recently I was in this group locally in San Diego that was about help move you toward funding your project. And some of it was the, internal work, and some of it is the practical thing of networking and stuff. I've met someone through that who got excited about one of my projects that during this couple weeks, I made up my mind. This one project is that's my top one that I'm most in love with.
okay.
And it's most me. It's the one that's the most me. I got this actress so interested in it. Now she wants to put together a staged reading, and I have a rewrite to do on it that I put off for 2 years, by the way. Now I have
Okay.
to do it this month. But because now she wants to do a stage reading. She wants to bring all these women in, because one of the questions was, who's your ideal investor? Women. It's about the invention of the brassiere. So it's a good starting point.
Nice. Okay. Bette Midler is going to be in it.
That would be nice. So, she lit a fire under me. It was just bringing positive energy to my project. And she talked about, that was online. We were doing an in-person thing, mastermind, and she talked about my project before I did. And I thought I was going to cry. It's like, I just felt so seen and supported, and other people getting interested. So something's happening. And then another screenplay of mine that I have shared with this acting class many times, scenes. And one of the students, it's a Zoom act class that I guessed at. One of the students liked one of my scripts a lot, and he read it, gave me notes. I knew he was into it. And just recently, he's like, maybe I can get this funded. I'm like, I have a good part in there for you. So he's now working on a pitch deck and potential funding. I mean, this is all new in the past few weeks. After years of sort of sitting on my projects and having them develop and writing them, I'm committed to them. Like I said, there's only one of me in all the time, so I have to get them some version of them.
You guys,
Stuff is starting to happen a little bit.
and and it goes back to that question I asked you earlier too, is when you work begets work. I know it's cliche, but it's absolutely true. And you're putting it out there, and you're developing relationships, and those relationships are you're giving to them, and they give to you, and all of a sudden you're creating work for other people, and people are inspired. um that's what I'm hearing you say.
I hope that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about filmmaking. You can create a lot of work for people, and work that they really enjoy if they like your project, that they feel good about the work that they're doing. They bring all their own creativity to it, and all meshes together. That's the ideal set. It all
um the
elevates.
Yes, I remember, the first time it happened for me was when I did my one man show. That was the ballsiest things I've ever done up until that point.
It is
And
ballsy.
I
Very.
remember, just I didn't know where I was going with it. I was working on some scenes and stuff like that. And Anthony Gilardi comes up to me and says, he was a student in the same class that I was in. He goes, do you have a director for this? For what? Whatever it is you're doing, I want to direct it. I said, yeah. I don't. Yeah, sure. And so, and then the Ross Levinson came up and said, I want to be a, I want to be a, I wanted to, and oh, then I said, all I need now is a composer. And Ross was behind me and he goes, I'll compose it. And then the next thing you know, 2 years later, we're sitting around and the lighting designer, the set designer, all these people are around you, and you look at your script and they've got notes on every single page, and then you're like, wait, that's my script. And they're like, yeah, let's do this.
They're into it. That's such an exciting story. I love
Yeah.
that.
And I'm a big collaborator. I love working with other people. I like to be in the director's chair. I like to be in that space, or as an actor, because in both compartments I have my own kind of world I get to live in. But in the director chair, I get to have the vision, I get to have the imagination, communicate that with all these amazingly talented people, and they can come to me with their expertise and say, hey, how about this idea?
Exactly.
Yes, let's do it. Let's
Yes.
try. Yeah. So
When they get your idea, this is something I've learned from being in writing groups and other things. When people get what you are wanting to do, even if it's not all the way there yet, their input is so valuable and creative. If they don't get it at all, or it's just not their cup of tea, their input is going to be not harmonious with what you're wanting to do. And that's part of our job, is to discern, take this in, apply it. This, I want to take it seriously because I want to listen to everything. But this one, it doesn't make any sense for what I want to do. So I have to evaluate it and then let that one go. That
yeah.
happens a lot.
And how do you, like evaluating that for practical reasons, think big, imagine big, and then for practical reasons it might have to go a different way, but that way really works, but the intention is
It
still.
still has to work with the intention.
Yeah.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
still has to fit. Yes, we're going to make adjustments going from script to screen and to editing. There's, like we say, we write the film 3 times at least. So
Yeah.
things are going to change and adjust, and we're going to have to make some adjustments and some modifications and compromises even.
Yeah.
But if it's serving the same story is what I'm talking about.
And usually, especially in indie projects, because you have some more obstacles to overcome, that the magic of creating in with limited resources is really good.
It's
Far
magical.
better than going, oh, we'll just AI that, or
Oh no, it's
you
so
know.
magical. People come up with solutions, but that's why you want on the team people that get and love, hopefully, your story.
Yeah.
Because their now imagination is working, and they're
Yeah.
getting something that actually fits. It might be something you never thought of as the writer or director, but it's going to fit. It's going to
Yeah.
work. It's going to solve a problem. It's going to do something.
Yeah. I love that position. Hello, Leafy. I'm going to go back over to the chat here in just a second, but I love that position of collaboration and working with people, because, you know, if we're just doing it ourselves, we're missing out. We're missing out, and
Absolutely.
you're missing out on saying yes, being able to say yes, and you're missing out on creating opportunity for other people to be inspired, to overcome their own insecurities, their own obstacles.
Yes.
When a camera person can come up to you and say, hey, I have this idea, and you go, I love that, all of a sudden that camera person is going, I matter, right? Or like, I have something to say,
They
I
feel
can be.
validated, and they go with extra passion into implementing that. Yes, I've had that experience with DP that I love and get along with.
Yeah.
It is about picking the team that you all work together. And something that changed for me, a big change. I wrote these scripts originally, first drafts years ago, to direct myself. Since then, now I would rather have a different director. I hope they'll be open to my vision, because I have very clear vision on these things. But I kind of want someone else to direct so that they can bring their own expertise that is probably beyond mine. Is
Yeah,
what
and
I'm hoping.
another perspective. And I agree with you. And I think, I've worked with authors that wanted to direct their own project, And I think it's okay. Like if it's a play or if it's like a stage reading or something, I think it's okay. I think it's so much better when you bring in another person that you trust, that gets your vision, you
That's it.
communicate back and forth, and that can and that can, you know, question in a way that makes it even stronger, more or succinct, or in a new perspective way, the outcome. You know what I mean. I'm getting so
Yes.
excited because it's so true.
Execute
It's
it.
so true.
They're going to help you execute a way that you can't on your own. And when you see people trying to do every single thing themselves, which in a way I can do it. I've done it with shorts, but I think it's going to be better. These projects in particular, they're very close to my heart. I want them to be as excellent and meaningful as possible. And I think it's going to take a director, but yes, a director that gets me and my project and respects my input. I want to have a little input.
Oh yeah. And I always say this, and I've kind of put my foot in my mouth by someone not understanding what I mean by this. There's a film forum interview with me and Ciro, and I don't think I was clear enough on this. But I always say there's nobody on set that knows my character better than I do. That is my intention, because I've gone to the writer, I've asked them. I've gone to the director, I've asked them, what is our vision, collective vision for the character? Where are you going with this? How do you see, why did you choose me for this role? Like, what is it about me that we can really, elevate, that you saw portraying this character? And then I go and do my research, I go and do my work, and then I go and ask the writer again, and then I go and ask the director again, and we are in constant communication, so that by the time, because the only thing I have to worry about in the entire set is my character, is who I am, and bringing that humanity. Because the director has to worry about everything, you have to see everything, right? So if I'm bringing my own responsibility and my own professionalism and love and passion for this part of this story, then I'm doing my job. Um, and there's nobody else that is my intention. And if you go in that direction, then you're working collaboratively, and you've got yours under control. You've got your responsibility under control. But I mentioned that in a interview with Ciro. And I don't know if I was clear enough on it, because it can come across like a little, uh, uh,
No, it makes sense. By the way,
uncooperative, but
side
it
note, Brianne,
doesn't.
what you
Yeah.
just said would make an excellent contribution to volume 2. So if you could
Okay.
get this transcribed, I would like to.
Yeah, I'm transcribing it, so I'll send it over to you. Actually, yeah, absolutely. And I'm recording it. So, are you talking about nobody knows the character better than I do, and how we work
Yeah, and your
together?
process working with them, and then how am I going to embody this and make it my own, and whatever you just said that I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know the
Yeah. Cool.
character the better than anyone else. That's
Yeah.
maybe the title. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love a clarification on that, because okay, I'll tell you a story. It was a movie. I'm not going to mention the movie or the producers. They're friends of mine, but they were so committed to doing this film themselves, and I understand why. It was their heart project, um, and they were so committed doing it themselves. And I mentioned that statement to one of the producers, and he called me like 2 days later, and he goes, "Brionne, this gives me concern." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, because it came across to him that I was approaching it like nobody could tell me anything." You see what I'm saying?
The opposite. If you're consulting with director, writer,
That was the part that he didn't understand. That was the part that he didn't connect with. When I'm coming into something, I am communicating with everybody. I'm even communicating with the permission of the director, with the DP, like where are we shooting this? What lens are you on? Like, I mean, if I need to know that information, then I am like, where's my mark? Like, where I've got myself taken care of, what's going to work best for the shot that you need, or whatever, and I'm communicating with the director through that. But that was the part I wasn't clear on, was I'm communicating with the writer. I'm computer. And then he goes, oh, okay. I'm like, don't you know me? Like, like, don't you know that that's how what I bring to the table? Anyway,
That you're a
so
collaborator, a major collaborator. It's interesting what you just said, because communication, what's tricky about communication is people take it in through their own filter. They miss something that you might have said. You can't control how people take what you do. And that's why, as a writer, the what I've learned, the work is to be as clear as possible. Clear first, creative second is the priorities.
and I think when you raise the stakes, um, there you're when the stakes are really high, like in this case, this was their precious baby. And I understood that and I respect that. I 100% appreciate that. And I honor it. When the stakes are really high, you can approach something from the perspective of guarding it and protecting it and holding on to it no matter what, or you can let it become what it needs to become, and that requires other parts, other
Let it have
DNA,
some
other
life.
yeah.
That's what brings life and air into it. There's a piece I have Malcolm McDowell in this book, and I have another
Mm-hmm.
piece from him in the next book where he talks about an experience like that, where someone was holding something so tight and he was trying to get her to let them continue. Like she would cut and they had another word to say or something. And he's like, we're gonna give you a gift. We're gonna continue the scene to the very end and even a little beyond. And then you can edit however you want. And she just wouldn't do it. And he's like, I really liked her and I liked the script, but when I saw the film, we had no life because of this tight approach. Needs breathing room.
Yeah, and when you're
Creativity, creative projects need some breathing room.
and you got to trust your people. I think this is huge too. I was just talking to a student the other day about the main um and the main through line for so many people in life in creative processes that they don't trust themselves, and that carries over in their relationship with other people because you know I think holding on so precious to something, I think it is symbolic of a lack of trust in yourself and your own, and then you're not trusting the people who you've brought on, literally hired to trust to do their job. And when I am a yes person on set all the time, and when I've directed, it's I'm yes if we got time. You know what I mean? There's certain
Right. If it
parameters.
serves, if it
Yeah,
seems like it can serve and you have the time. What you just said, it's so profound. I think that is so true, that trusting yourself, your project allows you more to trust others. And that trust is what is going to give it a lot of life.
yeah. And those raised stakes, the higher you raise your stakes in life, the more
Less
life you
scary.
live. And then sometimes the higher you raise the stakes, the more precious you hold on to something. And that doesn't necessarily work. When you raise the stakes and you have no other choice but to let it go and just trust, that's where you live and fly free for sure. At least that's my experience.
So too, part of the filmmaking process is being able to understand what can I control, what I can't control. And so like when you're producing something, you're planning for every eventuality the best you can, but stuff is going to happen that you didn't predict, and
Yeah.
you're going to have to go with it.
Yeah.
You're going to have
Yeah.
to find a new solution or
And
move on.
that's usually a really great journey to go through for sure. I got a couple of chats here, and then we'll wrap it up. I can only find the paperback we discussed. Missy, I trust that you got that. Got it. I love. Oh yeah. Okay. I love Laurie's energy. Let's see. Dan Holguin says you are not alone. Haha. Quotations because he does a cover of that song that's really good.
Ah,
And then this is such a pep talk for the day. Uh, Missy says agreed. Leafy is waving. Melissa says